Welcome to the Glam Report, where we turn the spotlight on the latest in beauty, wellness, and aesthetics, unveiling cutting-edge trends, expert insights, and the stories that shape the world of skincare. Get ready to elevate your glow with every episode. Today, I am thrilled to welcome a true visionary in the world of aesthetics, Tim Holt, affectionately known as the Glacial Guy. As the CEO of Glacial Skin by R2 Technologies, Tim has been at the forefront of revolutionizing skincare with cutting-edge cryoaesthetic technology. With over 2 decades of experience in the industry, including his pivotal work with CoolSculpting and Fraxel, Tim has consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible in non-invasive treatments. His passion for innovation and his dedication to improving patient outcomes has helped make Glacial Skin a leader in the fight against inflammation and skin aging. Tim's insights and expertise are not just shaping the future of aesthetics, they're transforming how we approach beauty and wellness. I'm so excited to dive into today's conversation with our very own Glacial Guy, Tim Holt. Tim, welcome to the Glam Report. I am so excited to dive into this conversation with you today, Tim. So welcome everyone to the Glam Report. We have Tim Holt, Glacial Guy. So Tim, tell me, with over 20 years experience in the aesthetic industry, with multiple different companies, multiple different technologies, you have great insight and you're visionary into where this aesthetic realm is going. How has the landscape changed where you have all that experience?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm really excited that we're doing this podcast. I mean, this is kind of another breakthrough moment for the company and just the brand and, where we're going. But to your question about, I guess, last 20 years, it's been that long. But, a lot's changed. I think things that really come to mind for me as far as what's changed from then to now is, number one, how you reach the patients and the consumers, how you create awareness around a brand is so much different than it used to be. I think social media has changed everything for everyone. It makes it so much more economical for a startup company like ours to get our message out there in front of the masses and in a targeted way. And, back in the day, so to speak, you're putting up billboards and you're doing, print ads and, those types of things that really are not quite as efficient as what we have today with social media in particular. So for me, I was part of 2 other brands previously in the space, Fraxel and CoolSculpting, and both of those really didn't have that luxury of having the social media platform to project the message. And we have a great message to project, and it's a perfect vehicle to deliver that. So I think that's something that's, obviously for a consumer patient perspective, it goes a really long way, but also from a provider and a clinic perspective and reaching them and getting your message in front of them too. So I love that we have that. It is kind of how Glacial Guy, it was kind of a joke in the beginning when I created it, but it became my handle on Instagram. And because I knew that was a platform that we could build our message and our brand around and the awareness. I'd say another thing that's really different over the 20-year history that I have in this space is that, number one, the market has grown exponentially. The consumer now has a different kind of average age than, say, 20 years ago.
So true.
It skews so much younger than it used to. And there are technologies like ours that speak to the entire spectrum of ages. And so, I think that's pretty interesting because it didn't used to be that way. And I think the younger consumer today tends to want to have their cake and eat it too. And I get that. But that means that they want to get results, but they also want to have a good experience too. And I think traditionally in aesthetics in particular, there's kind of been this prevailing no pain, no gain mentality that we started really challenging. I started challenging one of my first presentations I did about glacial skin back in 2020, when a lot of things were in the world were changing, was really about how you could have your cake and eat it too. You could have an enjoyable treatment experience and get tremendous benefit and outcomes out of it and for your skin. So I think that is something that we have brought to this equation that has made and has changed the look of what's possible in this space and very different from 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Having been in the aesthetic industry myself for many years, I agree with you completely. Like social media 10 years ago wasn't even part of the equation.
Yeah.
So how has the Glacial Skin team used social media to help propel the business?
I mean, we've got a kind of a brilliant marketing team, and it's small, really small. This company is small, but big in so many ways. Like how we show up is I'm really proud of it, because especially from a marketing standpoint, and we've done a lot to showcase the treatment, educate consumers and providers about what is glacial skin. And glacial skin is a lot of things, so that can be hard to boil that down into something that's, kind of a quick hitter, something that you can put on social media that people can consume and understand. And our marketing team has done a great job, both with content that we create, but also with testimonials from patients and providers, people that have used our device and have seen so many benefits from it and can speak to it. And I think that's the most powerful message you can deliver today, because there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot to kind of comb through, sift through. And I think our team has done a really good job using these social media platforms to deliver real messages from real people that resonate with everyone.
Yeah, agreed. While you were talking, I was thinking, social media for me has brought this sense of authenticity to the marketplace,
Yeah.
because whether you're a customer wanting to buy a device, whether you're a patient, those testimonials, like we don't ask our patients and our customers for testimonials every day, but they're coming in because it's authentic, because their experiences are so positive that they want to share that with the world.
Right.
And so you can really get a true sense, like you said, the real stories, the real people. You can get a real sense for what type of treatment you're getting, what type of services you're getting from a clinic, and what that experience is going to be. And so I do appreciate that and this from the social media world.
Well, and I think that's a great point, because I think that authenticity is where we've come now, where people they've developed a filter, because they've seen enough, and they can see through what's real and what's not, what's produced and what's not. And I think the nice thing about these platforms as well is that we can amplify those organic, authentic messages that are coming that we didn't even know someone was producing and putting out there, that has used our product, has used Glacial Skin successfully, and just wants to talk about it because they're excited and they want to reach more people to provide more benefits, and we can amplify that message. And that's really the beauty of it, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I have been so incredibly impressed with the content that our clinics, some of our solo SDs, some of our clinics, like the content that they put out there every day. Like I go on to Instagram, for example, and I start looking through reels, and I'm just like, this is amazing. And it really showcases what you can truly get for a treatment and what that experience is going to be. 10 years ago, you signed up for X treatment and you really didn't know what the experience it was going to be. Now you get firsthand, like you see the tip on the face, you see what products are being used, you know what ingredients are being used on your skin. And again, it really has evolved. And
I think even to your question about the last 20 years, it speaks to what you're saying, is that the patient is so much more educated than before.
Right.
And it's through their own work and their own diligence that they are vetting these different treatments that are available to them. And a lot of times, like you said, they're coming in to a clinic or to a provider knowing pretty much what to expect. And expectation setting is very, very important in anything, but especially in in aesthetics in this industry. And I think, the content that's out there and the tools that the patients have to educate themselves has also, been very beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's a foundational concept. I mean, for me and as an educator, going in to educate clinicians, it's please set expectations with your patients. You will be so much more successful. Your patients will be happy that you'll build retention for your clinics. We will be more successful because you're more successful. Like you're building the expectations, set expectations, so they know what to expect. But to your point, like this world of everybody knowing exactly what their experience is going to be and what downtime looks like and what what types of ingredients and things like that they're using, they're going in way more knowledgeable and they're signing up for something that they want. So tell me, Tim, how exactly did the glacial skin technology start?
Well, it started with doctors Rox Anderson, Dieter Manstein, and Henry Chan. And those names are really well known. Rox, in particular, has been at the forefront of so much innovation in this industry over decades. Primarily more in the laser space originally or initially, and Dieter as well. As far as developing laser technologies and delivering heat-based, energy-based treatment solutions to providers and patients. And they have come up with so many different iterations and ways of delivering laser light to affect change in the skin. But I'd say now it's been almost 15 plus years ago, they also started to look at cold. And where they had discovered so many ways to harness the power of laser light and heat, they applied somewhat of that same principle to cryo and cold, to target and to dose, essentially, to deliver changes to patients. And one of their first discoveries that they brought to the market through another company called Zeltique was cryolipolysis and CoolSculpting, where you can target, again, using cold in a precise way, you can target the subcutaneous fat layer to reduce fat. And then they, of course, kept going. And I don't think they ever stopped as far as their thinking and their ideas, but they then thought of ways in which they could affect change in the skin above the fat layer. And that's where Glacial Skin was essentially born, where they were originally looking at ways to target lesions on the skin, pigmented lesions, and looking at ways that cryo and used in a very, again, precise, controlled manner could inhibit the melanin transfer process in the skin to affect change and reduce or remove benign pigmented lesions of the skin, but also even to take normal skin and to lighten it or brighten it. So there were things that they were doing then, and R2 as a company was partnering with them to develop that technology, which is kind of the OG of our Glacial RX system, the freeze modality. And that was the original work that they did to develop that. When I became the CEO in 2019, with the experience at CoolSculpting, and then of course seeing what they had done with the freeze modality, which was the singular modality of the system at the time, I thought there was a lot of other opportunity to, again, harness and dose cold to the skin and for change. And I really, you don't have to look too far to see the benefits of cryo in, say, sports medicine, or just, I mean, Rox always says, cold is as old as the hills, but our ability to control it is new. And so when I look around at just the world and the way that cryo is being used for some type of inflammatory conditions, I thought that this would be a way that we could also deliver our technology in a way, in a modality that would go more squarely at reducing inflammation in the skin. So we partnered very closely with Rox, Dieter, and Henry to develop our gloss protocol, which was the first way in which we looked at reducing inflammation in the skin and the benefits that it could provide, and then the glide modality as well. So both of those. And, I think all of us, including the brilliance of, Doctors Rox, Dieter, and Henry, all somewhat surprised about the kind of breadth and depth of our technology and what it could deliver in terms of changes and improvements to skin for acute and chronic type of conditions that patients tend to present with. And so that's been really fun. And, as scientists, they love seeing these discoveries, and they continue to work with our product in their lab, and continue to see things that we haven't even started talking about yet, that are really exciting, and how we can deliver changes to patients that they appreciate.
Yeah. There are some exciting things happening with cold. I can attest to that also, seeing the before and after pictures that come in from our clinics, like the clinical results are amazing. What do you think's next for Glacial Skin? So, you talked about how we started with freeze and then we went to Glacial Gloss and Glacial Glide. What do you think's next?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we continue to learn. And although we have a very clear idea of these three modalities that we offer and what they can deliver, when you get it out there in the hands of practitioners, they're all very smart people. They all have ideas too. They know how to incorporate it into their practice in many different ways. And all that does is open our eyes to more and more possibilities. And as a startup company that's continually growing, we're very pointed and make a point to listen to our customers and what's happening and what they're seeing, and then use those learnings to continue to evolve. So it's kind of a vague answer to your question, but it is where we see every week something new, something different, that is exciting, and it's a way that we can then lean into those things and see how we can evolve beyond. And we have some things that we'll be announcing even, coming up pretty soon, about just some new protocols, additional protocols, that are going to continue to enhance the suite of product and modalities that these providers have.
Yeah, I get it. You can't tell us all your secrets.
No. We got to keep it somewhat under wraps.
So what makes you believe in this technology?
Well, I mean, now it's easy to say because we see it. We see what the product is of the treatment, what it can do. But if I rewind back to an earlier time, I must say, and I've been part of 3 technologies that have been born out of the lab of Rox Anderson, Dieter Manstein, and Henry Chan. So, after the first 2, I was for sure a firm believer in them, and of course they have amazing credibility. So, when I was looking at this opportunity, and knowing that they were at the forefront of it from a scientific standpoint, that took me halfway. I mean, I was nearly all in, but I of course had to look at it and see what's the applicability, because you can create things. And this happens a lot. People create something, but it doesn't really have a home. It really doesn't have a place. It doesn't really have maybe a market. But it's cool, or it's this new thing. But how can you commercialize it? And so that's the other piece for me, is to look at what we could do with this technology and where it could go. And earlier on, when we were developing Gloss and Glide with our scientific founders, someone asked me. There was an investor that asked me, how do you think this compares to like a CoolSculpting, which had just come off a $2.5 billion acquisition? So they were asking, how do you think this compares? What's the total addressable market, and those kind of things. So, the thing about that is that I looked at this technology and what it could deliver, and I said, my answer was, it's going to be bigger. It's going to be bigger than
Love that answer.
Because we can address so many different types of patients, whether that's skin type, age, there's something for everyone for wherever they are in their skincare journey. And that's mass market all the way, and it's at an accessible price point. So a lot of times we're used to, in this industry, things being priced exclusively. We're a premium brand, but we are inclusive. We are not exclusive from a pricing standpoint. And that gives everyone access to this technology and this treatment, and where they'll see that benefit. So for me, when you look globally, I had always seen it as a bigger opportunity, not to mention all the things that we can do, as far as pairing our product and our modalities with some other technologies, which we can do. So not just standalone treatments, but then combo treatments as well. So it just continues to, again, exponentially grow the opportunity for the technology in a practice.
Yeah, for sure. I think the versatility of this device makes it so unique.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, what advice do you have for clinics that are looking to bring a new technology like the glacial device into their practice?
Buy it. I mean, that's step one. And I'm not really joking. I think we're going to be coming to a time where it's not about who has it; it's more about who doesn't have it. Because I think it's pretty essential. And there's so many benefits, and I think our providers, we talked about it earlier, but they're shouting from the rooftops about their successes. And that's awesome. That's ultimately what we want. We want happy patients, and then we want happy providers benefiting from those happy patients. And so I just think that it's my advice is that there's so many ways that we could incorporate this into a diverse set of provider. And I think we're gonna on this podcast we have plans to talk to like a solo esthetician practice, but also to like a large plastic surgery practice. And so we have a really nice diverse set of providers. And all that shows is that this technology can succeed in many different types of environments. And the versatility, which you just said, I think is critical to finding ways in which, and that's where our reps are very consultative, because they can look at a situation when they're calling on accounts, and they can see, oh, this is where Glide would really thrive in your practice. And then, oh, okay, you don't have this or that. Well, our freeze modality would be great over here. So that's really, I think, the opportunity that these providers have. And I think when we're talking about kind of a skincare journey, I think we're a product that really is about that journey and about doing things to not only address the symptoms of what you may have already seen in yourself and in the mirror, but also about your future, and in skin aging, and how am I going to really go about preserving the health of my skin, and what things can I really do to make a change now that are going to benefit me down the line. And I think that's yet another place, another way in which Glacial Skin can deliver for patients and providers.
Yeah. Where do you think the largest growing segment of the customer base is going to be for Glacial Skin?
Well,
I mean, we see it in dermatology offices,
yeah,
we see it in plastic surgery offices, we're seeing it in med spas, we're seeing
yep,
it in now franchises, and a huge amount of business is going to these solo esties that are entrepreneurs, they're clinicians, they're business owners, they're
yep,
the ones that are like making this successful. Like, where do you see the most growth?
yeah. It's hard to kind of like zero in on maybe the biggest opportunity. I mean, I think a little bit more globally as far as markets that we are not even in yet, that we are going to. So countries and regions of the world that, we haven't started in. So that's a huge area of opportunity and growth for us. But as far as like specialty wise, I think you just look at the statistics. This is not me talking, but you look at the statistics of where what are the access points for aesthetic services, and where is that growing? And so you see a lot of that. You mentioned the solo esthetician. That's not something, if we talk about 20 years ago, that wasn't really a thing as much, where you see a lot of solo estheticians setting up a shop, kind of that single shingle practice.
Right.
That isn't something you really saw a lot of. You see a lot more of that now, a lot more med spas. That's well known. That's a area of massive growth. So the beauty of it for us is that we really speak to those types of providers, in addition to what many have traditionally called the core. And I don't really love those terms, but where you're talking about the traditional aesthetic dermatology practice and plastic surgery practice that are continuing to thrive as well. We certainly have a place there too. But I think if we're just talking about places of growth and opportunity, that med spa solo esthetician channel is probably growing the fastest right now. And from a consumer standpoint, it's at that youngest kind of segment of the the consumer population, 25 to 32 or whatever, that's really growing fast as well. And we speak to that group too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things actually about this device is that there's nobody you can't treat. There's no practice that it doesn't fit in.
Yeah.
There's just like you can treat everybody at any part of their skincare journey.
Yeah,
That's my
absolutely.
favorite thing.
Yeah, it's great.
So shifting gears a little bit, I often joke with you that there's nothing that gets by you on social media. Like within like minutes, you see practice quotes like coming through.
It
You
says a lot
see,
about me and what I do during the day.
well, you see branding, like brand stuff that comes through. Like you don't miss a thing, and it's not like you're getting alerts. You're finding it. So, what social media platform do you spend most of your time on?
Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah,
And do you follow every single account that has a Glacial Skin device?
absolutely. Yeah, I do. I mean, I probably stalk them a little bit because I do want to connect with people. A lot of them DM me. I love that. All of you are welcome to DM me. I love to talk to our providers, learn. I told someone recently that I was talking to that we can't get better as a company, and we've done a lot of great things, but we always want to strive to get better and better and better. And I can't do that if I don't understand what's going on out there, how they're feeling, what they're seeing. And I said that a while ago. We always have to tap in and have our ear kind of to the ground and make sure that we're listening, because you can get tied up in your own ideas, your own thoughts. Everyone's convicted. We're all drinking the Kool-Aid, and miss a lot. You can miss things that way. So of course we're very convicted about what we do and confident in what we can deliver, but always having that openness to listen and hear other ideas, and it can make a lot of difference in how we continue to evolve the business. But back to your question, I mean, I follow everybody on Instagram, and if I see someone within that practice that I was like, oh, I didn't know she was there, I start following her too. So I love to connect with everyone in Glacial Nation. It's really important to me. And, I mean, we're a small company. We'll continue to grow, but I think having a family type atmosphere and kind of like just kind of the pride that comes with that, and the comfort that comes with that, we always want to maintain no matter how big we become.
Yeah. Well, I think it really truly goes back to what you were saying a while ago when I asked you what's next for Glacial Skin. And you said, we go to our customers and we listen. And I do think that part of that ear to the ground and listening to the customers is you being so engaged. And I think that that's a true testament as a CEO that you follow individual providers, individual business owners and clinicians, and every single practice that has a Glacial Skin device. I think that's a testament to how much you care about not only our business, but theirs as well.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about cryoaesthetics. I've seen it on some marketing brochures. I've seen it on social media. What exactly does that term mean?
Well, when we were starting back in 2019 to think about commercializing, I had a lot of ideas. Not that that's stopped. I still have a lot of ideas, but just kind of the formation of the company and the brand was really, that's where we were at that time. And like I mentioned, developing the gloss protocol, glide protocol, things like that. So it was early one morning, actually, we hadn't really determined like gloss and glide and freeze, like under what brand was that going to live? And we threw out a lot of bad ideas, but that's part of the process, right? It's just
Yeah, of course.
spitballing. And I woke up early one morning. It's probably when I had some of my better ideas, and it just hit me that glacial was a term that I felt really embodied everything. Like everything that we were doing, I felt like it really embodied. And I remember messaging on Teams, some of the senior management team. And, I'm always expecting to get beat up for, some goofy, corny name that I've come up with. And Christine Tatsitani, our chief scientific officer, was the first one to respond. And she's like, that's it. Like, that's it. That's the name. Like that sounds exactly. And that kind of carried on and people, we got that validation over and over and over. And then in addition to that, I thought, we're also kind of defining a category where cold, cryo, this precision cooling should live. And the industry is so conditioned to energy-based devices, lasers, heat, no pain, no gain. And I wanted to distance ourselves from that in a way and really kind of establish our own segment that we live in. And that's where I came up with cryoaesthetics, because I think it's the marriage of, really both things where we're delivering cold, cryo, everybody knows what that is, and then aesthetics for kind of the market that we're addressing and that we're living in. And we own that term. And so I think in this day and age, I mean, it's very important with IP, with trademarks that that's part of the value of your company and your brand is to secure that. And so we obviously secured Glacial, but we also secured the trademark on cryoaesthetics as well. And I think that's, something that's new and different that we obviously are projecting out there. But I think a lot of our partners, our providers, are really amplifying that message as well, because I think it speaks to their patient base as well, something unique and different as far as just a category and how to think about skin health and their skincare journey.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've used the term myself. I teach to the term, but I never knew the evolution or the genesis of it, and that's so meaningful.
Yeah.
I really love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and cryo. The term cryo is used.
Yeah.
You see cryo everywhere. I mean, it's a whole wellness category that I think is growing so quickly.
Yep.
But you don't see cryoaesthetics everywhere. You see it with Glacial Skin.
Yeah, and I think, when I talked about just all the places that I had seen cryo, like you're saying, out there in the universe, a lot of different, it's showing up in a lot of different places, but not in aesthetics like this for skin enhancement. And just that's to me is where the opportunity was to kind of create that segment and category that we can own.
Yeah. So shifting gears again, I'm very interested. Everybody knows you as Tim Holt, our fearless leader, CEO, spreadsheet, data guru.
Nerd.
I was being nice, guru. So if not the CEO of Glacial Skin by R2 Technologies, what is Tim Holt doing?
Wow. That's really an interesting question. Well, I mean, especially, we all pour ourselves into our work. So, and my work is kind of my hobby. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's my life, but it's a big part of my life. And so I kind of put myself all in to the thing that I'm doing, because it takes all my energy and brain cells to kind of come up with half these ideas that might be good, and the things to guide the company, so on and so forth. But, I think we all think of things that we could have done maybe in our career or journey, and that's a longer story. I actually started out in a different industry altogether. But, what I've found over time, I've done things to mentor college students with my alma mater, Ohio, and really value, probably even more than they do, the interaction with them as college students and the things that they're contemplating as they look at their career, and sometimes even beyond their career, other things in life. And I've spoken to them about those types of things and how to maybe think about and approach those things. And and even family and what just whether it's financial matters and those kinds of things. Like I really enjoy helping people and seeing people get from point A to point B. Even in our work environment, I love that. I love promoting people. I mean, that's so fun. Like seeing people evolve in our environment and grow and rise and do what they ultimately want to do. I love seeing that happen. So I guess if I wasn't in this type of role and in this kind of corporate environment, I would, I think I'd like to do something like a life coach, where
I totally see that.
do you, there's like a tad part, maybe psychology or psychologist, which I'm not qualified probably to do, but I am a good listener, I think, and I like to listen and I like to find ways to help. And then for the things, business, career, professional, financial, and probably some peppered in with some like life type things. I think it would be fun to help people kind of grow and really achieve like their potential, because I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. And if I could have, or if I could leverage my experience or even some of my know-how to really enhance their life. And that's probably something that I could see doing at some point.
I could see you being very good at that. I do think that you're an excellent listener, and I think that, even as a person that has worked with you for 3 years, I do see that you listen to problems, you see all angles and perspectives, and you help kind of coach through that. I also think you've got such a great intuition about people's true nature. I've noticed that in you as well, and I think thank you for sharing that because I have spoken to so many of our customers that follow you on social media and they get so excited. The Glacial Guy followed me, or the Glacial Guy liked my
I will
post.
eventually not be known as Tim Holt. I think
No,
I'll just be known as the Glacial
I think
Guy.
that evolution has already
It's
begun.
going. Oh gosh. Okay.
But they tell me how much it makes them feel special that you reach out to them directly and you tell them that we appreciate their business and we appreciate and they want to know about you. So I appreciate you sharing that
Oh,
little personal
well, that's
tidbit
good.
because
Thank you for your comments.
yeah.
That's not. I do. I like connecting with them. I never wanted to be the unapproachable CEO, or just whatever. I never wanted to be unapproachable. And I think being approachable and I want to know these people and I want to know how we're benefiting them. To my other point about being a life coach or whatever, we've created this is a little bit my baby, and we've created this for them, for our providers, clinics to use to benefit patients. And so I want it to work. I want it to be great for them. And I want to know them, like I've said before, to make sure that we're checking all the boxes that we possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that we do that exceptionally well as an organization. And that's probably a testament to your leadership that we're so engaged with our customers from every single touch point, from our sales team, from our post sales support, our clinicians. Everybody is so in touch with our customers because we want to make sure that they're successful. And I do think that that starts with you. Like, anytime that there's a comment where they're needing guidance or something like that, I've seen you reach out and then you trigger the right team to kind of go and help and solve the problem. So
It's cultural. I
yeah.
mean, because it can go a lot of different ways. And we all, you, me, everyone, we define what our culture is. And so we're very cognizant, I think, of who's on our team, who we bring into this venture, and making sure that it's right for them, and it's right for us, and that we can build the kind of culture that that does the things that you were just talking about. Because I think, and as you grow and as you scale, that's the challenge. And I've lived it before, where there's a lot that you have to do to manage that growth, to maintain those attributes that got you to where you have come. And how do you proliferate that? How do you scale that? And that's our challenge. That's my challenge, to make sure that we're doing it the right way and that we're all on the same bus going in the same direction, doing the right thing.
Yeah. Well, you've put together a really impressive, amazing team. The people that we work with every day, I think that we're moving in the right
Yeah,
direction.
I love our team.
Yeah.
Great team. I'm
Yeah.
super proud.
Well, it's been a true pleasure getting to know the inside of Tim Holt's brain and the business. It's been a privilege. Thank you so much, Tim. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Amy. Appreciate it.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Glam Report. A big thank you to our guests for sharing their expertise and insights. We hope you found today's episode as inspiring and informative as we did. To our amazing listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and share it with others who are passionate about wellness, skincare, and learning about industry trends and how to be successful in their aesthetic business. Until next time, keep glowing and radiating your best self.